Okay, gang. Hey, playing with my little video camera here again. Just wanted to show you how my zero-turn Toro is not making any turns anymore. As you can see, on the rear right, it's missing what they call a hydrostatic drive assembly. Well, yesterday I was mowing my lawn and going up alongside the curb, and my shaft broke. And over here on the bench is the shaft that broke. And here's the piece that broke off into the hub. But anyway, when that shaft broke, the wheel came off, clamped down, the mower fell on top of it. It spun me 180 degrees right off the curb, and I was laying sideways on the street. That's a heck of a way to celebrate Father's Day, isn't it? Well, anyway, I just thought I'd take a little bit of a video of the parts here. Believe it or not, this unit, a rebuilt one, is $900 and a brand new one is $1,200. And I said to myself, well, I used to work on stuff like this all the time. I'm going to give it a shot. So lucky for me, you'll see it up here on top of my tool box here, is right off the internet, all the instructions I needed. And so anyway, we got it dismantled, got it off the mower, and then when I went to get parts, first, nobody had any in stock anyway, and second, this shaft here, this 1.5-foot long shaft, all by itself, is $230. But it's a must-have. I had to work out that, and then right around here, all this here that's clean now, had this stuff, high pressure paste on it. And I said, oh, I better get a tube of that. Regular sealer, they say, won't work. You have to buy the Toro high pressure stuff. Well, guess what? That was another surprise. One tube of that high pressure stuff was 45 bucks. Which, you know, woke me up a little bit also. So, this project here is at a standstill now because the shaft won't get here. Actually, I won't get this same shaft. Apparently, Toro has made a change, and they came out with an upgraded kit that they're going to send with a new shaft. And so hopefully that won't give me any bugaboos having to change anything. I have no idea what's in the kit. I couldn't find any kind of exploded views or parts list of what was in this kit, so I guess I'll be surprised when it gets here. Hopefully it'll go right in. So that should just about do it. I just wanted to come out here at the end of the day. It was about a 3-hour project. It was about an hour and a half to tow it from the street to the garage. That's a whole story on itself, but anyway, just thought I'd make another video with this camera here and see how it turns out. I'm going to post it on my Facebook and on my YouTube, and then I'll maybe might make one as I'm reassembling, just to maybe help somebody else along the line. So that'll about do it. I got got a couple of days left to the week yet, so well, that's the other story. Was I was heading to the planning to head to the shore the day this broke, so sort of delayed my boating plans for a couple of days, but maybe I can get a couple of days in this week yet. Okay, everybody, take care. Catch you next time. Okay, I'm continuing on where I left off the last video. I said I might put something together during assembly. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is show you the new kit versus what was in the mower. The original shaft system that was in the mower, as you can see, had lots of bits and parts and pieces, and it didn't hold up to the task. And the reason that I feel that it didn't hold up to the task was this part of the design right here. If you look at it, you can see where the shaft would ride on the inside of this hub and then continue on through the hub. And instead of a splined shaft, they give you this machined out notch at the end, which further reduced the small diameter. The diameter of the old shaft is only 3/4 of an inch. So that being said, and then with the fact that this is the original bearings that were in it, the bearings are in this position in the case, so you had a good 6 to 8 inches of extension there that it had to bear the weight all the way back to here. So what happened was, because of the way they made the shaft attached to the hub, to keep the hub attached to the shaft, they put a notch in it, and then in that notch they machined a screw hole through it, a bolt hole through it, and that allowed them to run a bolt from the outside, the end of the shaft, through the hub, through this locking mechanism. Well, right there's where it broke, at the weak spot. As you can see, if you're looking down here, looking at the end of the shaft, there's only 1/4 inch of steel left over after they drilled the hole out. And that hole went all the way through to the back. So now you had a notch. It's notched out on both sides, and there's a hole down through the middle, a hollow core. So eventually that's where it's going to snap off. There isn't much metal there to keep the torque from snapping it off. So anyway, that was the old design. That was what came with the mower. And the new design is much stronger and much simpler. The new design, they just made the shaft a full inch in diameter. They bumped it up an inch, and then of course they had to match everything to that inch diameter. The drive gear clip that holds this drive gear on, of course the washer on the inside. Now I already put in the new bearings on both sides. I did that yesterday, just a little bit before I went to work, just to get it done, so I didn't film that part of it. But it's your basic bearing. Went in, tapped it in first, and then the new seal went in after that, and then of course the snap ring to hold everything together. And then on the inside, it's just a Same bearing that came out, except the inside diameter is 1 inch. And what the kit forced me to do was to do what I should have done in the first place, and was planning on not to do. Was I was always taught to change things that work with other things, like this shaft. Well, then the way I was always taught was I should have ordered the bearings to go with the shaft and replace them as a pair. But I wasn't going to do that. I was just going to get the shaft. Well, Toro beat me to it, and they forced me to do it the right way because they wouldn't sell me just the old shaft. I had to buy this whole new kit. Now, the simplicity of the way this hub, this is a plastic spacer between the axle and the hub that they added. The old one didn't have this. I don't know. I guess it makes it look nicer or something. It doesn't do anything mechanically to change the operation, but what they did here on the end of the new one now is they tapered it into splines, and then they matched that machine taper into the splines of this one, and then the hub is then held onto that taper and spline with this nut, lock nut. And the downside to this kit is they want me to torque this lock nut down to a ridiculously 260 foot-pounds. And considering I don't even have a torque wrench here at this shop that goes to that, it's going to be, you know, that's a 3-grunner I call it. Yeah. I'm going to put the whole system together, put the hub on loosely. I'll put the mower down on the ground after everything is assembled, and I'll put my 3/4 inch socket on there with a breaker bar and give it 3 grunts. And I'm going to call that 260 foot-pounds. I'm not too worried about it because this is a low speed operation here. I mean, it's not like I'm going to be out on the road going possibly 80 or 90 mile an hour with this thing and the wheel falls off. No, it's a lawnmower. And the fact that I wasn't going to change them bearings was because I only use this lawnmower probably 45 minutes every 3 or 4 days. I don't have a large lawn. So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a quick look-see of the difference. There's the old one, 3/4 inch shaft with bad design on the end, and a very complicated to manufacture, I would assume, multi-piece system to hold the hub onto that shaft. And then you got the new one, and the new one came for my $66, I guess it was. I got a new gear, drive gear for the shaft, a new clip to hold that drive gear on. I got a spacer here, spaces that between that and the bearing. I had gotten 2 bearings, which I already showed you that are mounted, and I got three seals. The one I already put on the unit, and then they gave you 2 seals. This is the one I'll be using right here. This one here I can discard because that's for another model of ride. And then they gave me a new retaining ring, and then of course the spacer, that's just to make things look good. The new hub that matches up to the new design of the shaft, and then a lock nut, single-use lock nut. Put that on. Should replace it after if you have to take it off for some reason, which I don't foresee. Okay, that's about it. I'm gonna continue on assembling here, and it's pretty much straightforward. Like I said, first thing I did was when I disassembled it, I drained it all out before I did all that, and then I just put rod in through here, a punch, and tapped out the old one. And while I tapped out the old one, it pushed the seal out with it, so I didn't even have to pull the seal out. And then this one here, I just tapped carefully. The old one just popped right out using my finger. And then the new one I had to tap in with the keyhole aligned up here. So they're all ready to go. These are your typical low speed, high pressure, case hardened steel bearings. They have machined in grooves so that the oil can get in between the shaft and the bearing and on both ends. This whole thing here will be in a bath of oil. The whole shaft is under an oil bath when the thing is all reassembled. And you know, it's an amazing piece of. You got the power shaft coming down, operating a pump. Pump goes through a circuit, and in that circuit inside here is check valves, and it goes through the check valves, and then they keep the pressure up. They don't allow the pressure to come back through to the pump, so it's a constant charge. And then it goes through a set of directional valves, front back. You know, when you move the levers, it moves the control valves here, and now either the pump never changes direction, it just keeps doing what it's doing, and the fluid turns this shaft one way or the other depending on which valve is open. And then there's a bypass valve that allows the whole pressure to go straight through all the system and bypass the system altogether, and that's for parking, so you can disengage the operating system and push the mower around and things like that. There's going to be a purge thing that I got to go through here. Read the instructions a little bit carefully when I do that, but then that has to be mounted on the mower to do that. It has to be functioning. In other words, I'll have air into the system, and I'll have to purge out the system when it's filled up and back together. I got the specific asked for very expensive sealer that I got to put on here after I do the final assembly and get ready to do that part of it. I'm going to clean the edges up really good with some lacquer thinner and on both sides. Right here is the seal that came with the kit. I took the old one out, and the new one will go right into there. I'll do that prior to assembly after I clean up the seal seat a little bit. You can see the oil channel there that allows the oil to come through and get onto the shaft bearing here, but stay behind the seal. Okay, so I guess I bored you enough with this preparation of putting this thing back together again. So I'll throw it back together again, and then before I put the cover on, I'll give you the final overview later. Right here is an example of the old shaft setup. It's on the left hand side of my lawnmower. See how they have the hub attached with this locking type mechanism, and all that's been circumnavigated now with the new axle and hub system. Okay, now I have the unit in my vise, and it just made it a lot easier to reassemble. Here is the shaft drive gear The shaft runs all the way down through and comes out the other side here. It's in its new seals and bearings. Then we move over, and underneath this gear here, which is driven by the pump, there is another smaller gear that this one runs off of. So the pump runs this shaft, which then runs this gear, which is connected to the gear underneath it, which runs the axle. And that's how this pump works. So you got the engine supplying power here, running a pump which goes through check valves and directional valving on the other side, and that pressure runs this shaft forward or back, counterclockwise or clockwise, depending on which valve is opened by the levers, the control levers. It transfers the power to this gear here, and then this gear transfers it through the shaft to the small drive gear underneath, which you can see the top half of right there. I don't want to. Anyway, you can see that there. And then the drive gear goes to the big gear that's attached to the axle. Okay, that's just a quick overview of the system here in its simplest terms. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some lacquer thinner, and again, I've already done it once, but I'm going to go over this again with lacquer thinner and clean it up as best as I can. And then over here I already installed the seal, the new seal that came with the kit, and I'll do the same to this side. I'll lacquer thinner this side, which I've already done once, but I moved it around and slopped it in grease and things like that, so I want to get all the grease and stuff off of it. Then I'm going to blow out each one of these individual holes here. Rebuilding 101 is I've seen nasty things when there was stuff that fell down inside these sealed holes here, and then when you go to torque them down, you split the case. So any novices out there that might stumble across this thing, always clean these things out. And what I'll do is I'll do the lacquer thinner thing, wipe it all down, because I could still push some stuff down inside these screw holes here, these nut holes, bolt holes I should say, mounting bolt holes. And then I'm going to cover this section here with rags, and I'm going to bring my compressed air over, and I'm going to blow out the holes one at a time, watching that I don't transfer the dirt from like here over to here, and by not paying attention. So you just blow out all the holes. Over here on the plate, you don't have to worry about that because it's straight through. The bolts go straight through the plate. This is where the compression and damage can happen because it's a sealed casting. Sometimes when you got pumps and things that are not a sealed casting, they just open up the end and it's not as critical. The dirt will push right out through the other side, but that's not the case here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to bore you with filming that, is lacquer thinner. I'm going to hit it with some lacquer thinner. You know, alcohol, anything that you have there. I happen to have lacquer thinner here. I have all of them. I have all the cleaners. So I like lacquer thinner because it evaporates quickly and does a good cleaning job. Okay, I'll turn this back on again when I get to the sealing part later. Okay, I got the surface all clean, and I'm just going to give it a quick That should do it. Okay, next thing we do is put the bead on, the sealer on. Okay, now I ran a bead of sealer across, and then I pinched it down by number 1 and number 2 bolt. There's a specific torque pattern supplied by the internet here, so you got to follow that torque pattern. It'll go 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, you know, back and forth, and crisscrossing it sort of like goes counterclockwise until it meets in the middle. So I got the bolts prepped here, ready to go. I just snugged 2 down way above their torque settings just to hold the sealer in place while I do the rest. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank down the rest of them to snug with an air ratchet, and then get the torque wrench out and finish off the torque to the proper specs, which is posted in here somewhere. I gotta find it. Okay, back to work. Okay, here goes the last one. It's at 145 inch-pounds. The plate is all torqued down now. A visual inspection on the outside shows this bead of sealer coming out everywhere that I hope to see it coming out of. So everything's looking good. We got this thing pretty much reassembled. We got one more thing to do here as far as the reassembly goes. Let's put this brake wheel on there yet, and then the brake arm itself is still on the machine. That'll be bolted here, right here, and it'll intermesh when you put the levers into a certain position, and that'll prevent the pump from turning. Okay, I'm going to put this clip back on here, and then it's time to fill this baby up with oil. It takes just about 2 quarts of 2050 regular engine oil, motor oil. Don't use hydraulic fluid. You'd think that because this is a hydraulic system that's what they would want you to use, but you'll completely destroy it and ruin it. No, the instructions say use specifically 20 weight 50 motor oil. It doesn't tell you whether you should use can use sin or not, so I'm not even going to bother. I'll just put the 20-50 weight motor oil in there, and the manual gives you a specific technique on how to fill it and where they want it filled and how much they want in it. And then we got to mount it onto the mower and go through a purge cycle, positioning the levers in certain positions, and then with the motor running and letting it purge out all the air. Okay, on we go. Well, project's at a standstill again. I ordered a sealer with a Toro part number, and they sent me this, and it's obviously not a Toro sealer. So I get on the instructions here and it doesn't tell me a curing time or anything. So it just says call their number, and so I did. Well, I called their number. I got a hold of a tech, and she told me that they weren't familiar with this stuff being used in this particular situation. She said it's more for construction. So anyway, I'm going to go on the good graces of Toro. They sent me this stuff, but what I wanted to find out was when I could put the oil back in. What was the curing time of this sealer? And she didn't have a good answer to tell me. She rattled off some numbers about it drying a day for every 1/16 of an inch thick it is, and bottom line was it's only a couple of thousandths thick, and it's starting to set up a little bit right now, and I can feel it. It's getting tacky. So she suggested, wait a day before you put anything in it. So I guess we're at a project standstill. This is the oil fill plug, but you cannot access once it's on the mower. So I can't even put it on the mower because once it's up bolted in place, there's no access to it. This tube here doesn't even show up on their parts schematic. This whole section here is different, but the model number is the same. This is some kind of breather apparatus. Comes up through, there's one on each side of the mower, comes up through the frame, and just has a plastic breather cap that goes on to prevent rain or dirt or whatever to go down into the tube. So it's some type of breather, probably some kind of air baffling system in there. Compresses the air and releases air, and compresses air and releases air to stop a surge in the hydraulic system. But anyway, now I'm at a standstill again. So tomorrow, unfortunately, I'm going on vacation tomorrow, so it might be a week and a half standstill. Okay, that's where we're at with this now. I have it all in position. Here's the new shaft. Definitely an improvement over the old one. And I will continue this project at the next available time. Doesn't look like I'll get it together today, because the last thing I want to do is pour oil in there and have my sealer just allow it to go through and then have to do this all over again. So we're going to have to use the push mower again. Okay, well, that's it. I'll start videoing again when I get back at it. Catch you guys later. Bye.